Hello and welcome to the Communication Commission meeting, the first one of 2015. It is 6:15 and it's January 14th. Welcome everyone. So we've called it to order and now in attendance everyone, but unfortunately our liaison is not able to come tonight and she let us know, so that's great. Does anybody have any amendments or do they want to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Richard is making a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Yeah, the motion passes. All righty. And now, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of the December 10th meeting, 2014? Any additions or deletions? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? None. So motion passes on the minutes. Tonight we are very happy to introduce Betty Ruck to the Communication Commission. And Betty, why don't you come on up here? We'd like to talk with you. Yes, right here. Don't be shy. You're going to be on TV a lot. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Betty. We have all your information, and we just thought, would you like to tell us a little something about yourself so everybody at home can find out about you?
Well, I retired from teaching 2.5 years ago. I taught in the Woodhaven School District for a little over 20 years. I taught science, mainly middle school, and loved working with students. It was sad to retire, but I had a lot of other things going on, which includes a lot of activity, AV kind of activity at our church. I do the website, the slide presentations every Sunday, all the photography, video, and that keeps me kind of busy. And other than that, and grandchildren, I'm pretty much on the go. So, but my love has always been in media and science.
How did you learn all that about the media and the websites and to do them yourselves?
I just go for whatever I want to do, and I use a lot of self-help videos and learned all the CS6, and I had never really taken video before. A couple years before I retired, I really started in it, but I had only taken a few home videos way back, and so it just grows. You want to learn the next thing, so you just keep going.
Great. Richard, Uta, Jerry, any questions for Betty?
I have no questions, but I'd sure like to say, give Betty a compliment. I'm also a member at St. Thomas, and I guess that's transparency here. But she does a wonderful job. She trains the young kids that work the system, and it really is. She makes videos, and the songs are up. There's all kinds of interactive things on our website, so I'm very pleased that she's come forward to help us out here.
Great.
And working with the kids at church, that's that kind of replaces my being with kids every day. So I start the kids when they're in 6th grade, running the slides and also then in the sound too, because we run all the microphones and such.
I'm embarrassed to ask.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, dear.
I'm embarrassed to ask, what is CS6?
Oh, that's all of the Adobe. She was talking about it earlier. That's all the Adobe software for everything from
So
website
that's
to
the
video
suite
to-
from Adobe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
About 18 programs, of which I have not experienced all of them.
Right.
But I'm
still working on it.
Oh,
too.
God, yes.
Well, if I can also add, I think what I'm also realizing is the mission that Betty and her team fulfill at the church is to reach out to those people who can't attend the services. And so all of the services, all of the presentations that are made, even outside of the services, for instance, the school board members that had a meet and greet and discussion, makes it available to everybody to see online. And I think that's our mission here at the commission, is to make sure that the township's municipal meetings and other activities are accessible to the public that may or may not be able to come to a meeting.
Or choose not to come.
Or choose not to.
It's more comfortable watching at home. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say that the reason Betty is here is because of Pam Frucci, our former liaison. She wrangled me one day and said, she couldn't sing your praises enough. And she said, Kathy, you've got to go after Betty. And she knows what I'm like. So I did. And so I'm just thrilled. And I didn't want to give a shout out to Pam because she's constantly working for the community and always on, she always has, if she's got an idea, she shares it. And we're so grateful for that. Richard, do you have anything?
Nothing much.
Do you have any
Okay.
questions for us?
No, I've talked with all of you a little bit, and I think I'm sure there will be a lot of questions to come yet, but
Well,
We have
do you
answers.
see any reason we wouldn't just pass a motion right now?
Well, I would very much like to make a motion that we recommend to the Township Board the appointment of Betty Ruck to the Communication Commission to complete the term and fill the vacancy left by the resignation of Sharon Thomas through March 31st, 2015.
Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion passes. Welcome. We just have to
Thank
wait
you.
for the board's approval.
okay, thank you very
And
much.
it should be
So-
before next meeting, so you've got the packet, and we'll be chatting.
Okay. And I would
Thank you.
think that you're welcome to stay and
If you
share
want.
any insights you have tonight, or you're welcome to go.
Okay, I think I'll stay.
Okay, great.
Thank
Great. Thank you so much, Betty. Well, that's a pleasant thing. Okay, now we have reports of standing committees. Mr. Fournier, Cable Department Supervisor.
Good evening and Happy New Year. And to start off by saying that the first thing to make sure this a recommendation, if we can get this to Sharon maybe in the morning. I think we can still get it on the agenda for the January 23rd board meeting. If not, there'll be a meeting 2 days before our next cable communication meeting, so in February. So, but I think we can get it on the agenda for the 23rd, so
Okay.
the board can.
We will make every effort to do that.
I know.
Just give it to Ted?
Yes,
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
perfect.
Now now I have to be here in the morning.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
See, you asked for work and you got it.
Okay.
See, Betty, take notes. This is what we're like. It's terrible.
All right, a lot of things, covering a lot of areas. As far as the ongoing upgrading of the control room, we got Thalner came in December and rewired a couple things that we were having intermittent problems, screen going to the black, and they discovered that some of their initial wiring wasn't up to par, so they rewired everything, and things have been going a lot smoother over the last couple weeks. Also, the big accomplishment is finally Cygnus, our IT company, working with AT&T and the manufacturer of our encoder, finally figured out what the problem was in the software, and AT&T customers now have both picture and sound.
Yay.
So it was a internal setting inside of the encoder, and if you remember back in September or October's meeting, we briefly mentioned brownouts and how brownouts affect your computer. They think that during the brownout, that terrible storm we had in September, something internally switched off and they weren't aware of it. So anyway, we now have running, and we also have a document stating exactly if it happens again, how to repair it. So it took a while, but AT&T customers now have both picture and sound, and that's it. That was a major accomplishment.
One of the questions, the equipment that you're using, does it have battery backup at all?
It has a UPS. About $1,000. I think we paid $1,000 for the UPS. It's pretty extensive. We also lost a second UPS unit during that storm that can't be fixed. So one of them worked and the other one got burned out.
When I meant a battery backup, there are some.
There's batteries in those UPSs.
There are some external batteries that if you have a brownout, the battery backup will kick in and it will cause the system not to go down.
Well, it doesn't. The system doesn't have to go down. It just has to have a little less power, and that little less work on the computer will change it. But yeah, the UPS units we have batteries behind them. They're not going to last forever, but I mean they do have batteries backup. I also gave you today. I finally got the third review of our sound system. We have one from Sound Engineering. On the second one is from Advanced Lighting, and the third one is a review from the technician at Thalner. I have not set these side by side because I just got them this afternoon. So one of the work of this commission probably is to review this after talking to Ann and Dale at our managers meeting. We are probably not going to advance this in this budget year, but we are going to. This is going to be one of the main topics of discussion in the budget season that's starting right now, and that we'll approve at the annual meeting. There's a wide variety of prices here. Basically, what we want to do is start where you are sitting. We want to change the mics from 18 inches to 12. We want to put a different switch, an LED switch that will be lit up when it's on and off when it's off. There's been a lot of complaints about that. This whole sound system is now in its 15th year of operation. If you read the final letter from Thalner, all of the companies agreed that our sound system and the Pangea system that we're using is old. There's not parts to fix it. B, it's acting up intermittently. So we're going to go to a computerized system, and basically over the course of the next week or two, we're going to go through and explore what our options are and put together a bid package. We have to go out for bid. And I think if we rushed it, we could probably put this on the agenda at the second meeting in February for the township board. But really, 30 days more waiting to approve it. We're not going to spend the money till the 1st of April anyway, so it'll probably come out of the next budget. So anyway, these are things that you can review. The 3 different companies that reviewed it, and it's probably, we've talked about it before about putting it in the 016 budget, so it's kind of right on time. So if you got, I know you just got these tonight, so if you got any questions or anything on the procedure, feel free.
I have 2 things. First of all, will this stuff, whatever we choose eventually, will it interface with the current stuff that we just purchased?
What we're trying to do is upgrade the sound system from the here in the boardroom all the way till when we send it out to Comcast, or WOW, or
AT&T.
And then when I stand up here and tell you the sound didn't sound good on Comcast, we know it's Comcast's fault.
Okay. Also, on the AT&T customer situation, did other AT&T customers have a problem?
You know what? The only one that said anything to me was Ann, and the only other person. Well, I had one other person call in, and I explained what we were doing, and that's all I got. I got two people mentioned it to me, and if you have AT&T and you live in East Detroit, you can check anywhere. So I could check it from home.
So
But
other
no,
A-
I've already had two people say anything to me.
but other municipalities, let's say
No, this was solely our problem.
Our
It's
problem.
our encoder.
That's what-
encoder.
that's what I
We
was-
have two encoders. Originally, we purchased one that had two outs. One was going to AT&T on a dedicated T1 line, and the other one was going to Granicus for our archiving. Remember Granicus came in to give us a presentation, and we now lease a separate one dedicated solely to Granicus, and the old one we purchase and own is the one we dedicate to AT&T. So we actually have two encoders, one going to AT&T, one going to Granicus. And after the storm, both the sound and the picture went out. Cygnus, our IT people, came in, started working, you got the picture up, but literally could not get the sound to, we knew we were sending them sound, we just couldn't get it to AT&T. And after the holidays, I got back with Scott Peterson's gentleman's name from Cygnus, and he called me up Monday and said, hey, we think we know what it is. He went into it, and he reassured me that he now has everything written down. If anything happens, he knows this thing inside and out, and he can.
Is he going to give you a copy of it? His little write-up?
You know what? That's a good idea. I didn't ask him for it, but I will.
Yeah, get a
But
write-up.
I can have a I've got a write-up from the ticket from the IT, but I don't have the absolute directions.
Yeah,
Um,
have that.
yeah, I'll ask him if he can send
Yeah,
that to me.
have that, and then make a copy and send it around so that we have it, because that kind of stuff, somehow it just falls through the ways. But, so this kind of reiterates that what happened in September really did affect our things, because I know at the last board meeting, I was watching at home with my husband, and Woody Clark mentioned something about our
Well,
problems.
That was the rewiring
Yeah.
that we did into late December during the holidays,
Okay,
and that should take care of that problem.
okay, great. Anybody?
The budget season starts. We got this yesterday. On the February meeting, I will present. I will give you both the annual report and the proposed budget. Nothing much is going to change. The only issue will be the addition of the money for the sound system, which will, based on what you have in front of you, will be somewhere between 16,000 and 40,000. So it depends on what we decide we want to do. One of the things that are proposed in this is up here at the podium, we want to go to the next technology. We still have a VCR and a DVD here. For all practical purposes, we're going to get rid of that. I haven't seen a VCR tape in here in 10 years. And the DVDs, nobody's brought one in a long time. We're going to we're still going to have the ability to bring a USB to give a presentation. We'll still have the overhead camera, and we're going to add the capability of bringing in your iPad and your iPod and your phone. And the way it was explained to me, there'll be a number that a citizen can type into their device, which will permit them to make a presentation from their device they brought from home, and it'll be seen here on the monitors, and it'll be seen at home. So that's the next technology, and that's one of the things that we want to build in when we make this change here in the spring.
Any questions for Ted?
No question. I just wanted to let Ted know that I just emailed Sharon and sent the language of the motion and the voting to her so that you don't have to come in first thing in the morning.
It'll be second thing in the morning. Actually, first thing in the morning, I through my phone and through technology, first thing in the morning, I can get all my emails out of the way before I even leave the house, and check the TV station, and change.
True.
If I wanted to, I could reprogram a thing from home. So the technology is there that I could do a lot of things from
Absolutely.
Tennessee or wherever I happen to be at the moment. I can, I mean, when I was on vacation in October, Kathy emailed me a couple of times, and I was able to correct the issue from the Smoky Mountains. So technology is wonderful.
And like last night, how many times did I text you, even though you didn't want to hear from me?
I had you blocked.
I have a couple of questions about the equipment. What I'm trying to see is if the equipment is gonna be on surge protectors, or is it already built into the,
The UPS is our surge protector.
okay. That
So,
answers my question though.
and then we at one time we had two really expensive ones and a lesser expensive one in the boardroom. But we've taken control. We've taken so much equipment out of there. When we go to this computerized stuff, it eliminates a lot of monitors and a lot of other things. So we have, one time we had close to like 83 things plugged in that room. And now, we've taken, 30 or 40 of them out. And when we get the new sound system, that'll even take more equipment out of that room. So we have one big surge protector that pretty well covers everything right now.
And that's gonna include for brownout too, then?
Well, like I said, the surge protector actually, it's not worth fixing. It actually went out during the storm. So,
Okay.
I mean, surge protectors aren't 100% guaranteed, but it's a help. We've done a few videos. I think the one that we're proudest of, and in the back room right now, I have Patty Rooney, who's been doing a lot of camera work. We got tremendous response on the Christmas video from the police department. We got close to 2,300 hits on different Facebooks, and over 200 hits on YouTube views. Plus, we ran it among the shows, so it was well edited. The safety department, both the police and fire, gave safety tips, and it was probably one of our better watched videos. So we did that over since we last got together. We did a promo. There's an event on the 25th of January at St. James Episcopal Church. They're going to have the choirs, or anybody who wants to show up. They're going to sing, I guess, the old hymns or something. And I really don't know the old hymns because when I was young, I played guitar at a folk mass, so we didn't play the old hymns. But that's going to be on the 25th, and we've done a promo for that. And we're still got a couple more promos coming for the police department, those short features that's coming up. The webpage issues, we got together as the management staff. We wrote and revised the items that weren't working and things that we wanted to change. We got some answers back. We discussed them at a manager's meeting yesterday, and there still are a few issues. I'm sure Kathy will go through that on Kathy's report. Trying to think of anything else. That's pretty much it. If there's any questions,
Anybody have a question for Ted?
I'm sure I'll be back out.
Thank you, dear.
All right.
Alrighty, Township Board Liaison, Mrs. Smith, unfortunately she cannot be here tonight. Now the Chairman's report. Well, since we, I was wondering what that was. Since we met, the website has been going live, and we had the Yale Camera was generous enough to put in a lovely article, and then the next week they surprised me with an opinion article that I had written. So we were well represented, and I heard a lot of very positive things. There's still some issues, as we all know, but everybody seemed to really like the color scheme. That was the one thing they really thought we hit it out of the park with, and they're very happy with it. But again, it's a work in progress, as Supervisor Loftus has said. So we're going to be discussing some of the issues as we go on in the discussion part. We also had an issue with forms recently. We had an outside service doing our forms, and now the forms need a little updating and things, and we can do that in-house now. We have access to Acrobat, Adobe Acrobat X Pro, so now we don't have to spend any money, which is good for our budget. And anytime we can save money, we do, and it can be done very quickly. And I think that's one of the things that you were happy with, weren't you, Ted, that it could be done quickly? Yeah. And right now with the new website and all the different departments having responsibility, it takes a while to find out who they should contact. So they're working through that. It's a process, and I think it'll all shake out within a couple months, don't you think, Ted? Who's going to update things and things like that. I also had a comment from two of our residents. One is, Richard, your mother, regarding the trash pickup. People wanted to know when the trash will be picked up during the year, during holidays. That was a big thing. I mean, we were at lunch the other day, and another lady grabbed me and said, "Hey, we want to know this." So we have that information available. It's been put up on the website for the DPS, and it will be put up on the front page. Ted has a new listing of it for the whole year now. So when it comes up to the front page time for the holidays, it can be put up so everybody knows.
Yeah, Lorenda has always been very good in the DPS about putting up the trash notices. We put them on cable, we put them on Facebook, and they'll put them on the webpage. But we're not going to put the entire years on the front page. When a holiday, when there is a change, which is, I think, Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, pretty much, there's only 3 or 4 where the schedule will change. We'll put that on the notice part. And the other thing that's coming down the pike, Supervisor Loftus is very interested in adding another social media to the webpage, Nixle. So he's working with the police and the fire department, and that kind of notice will also go on Nixle.
I can put it up for him.
What is Nixle?
Nixle is another Facebook type social media, but it's geared for municipalities, and so it's another social media, but it deals, like I said, it deals mainly with cities and villages, and it'll be, Grosse Ile has that reverse 911 system. Mm-hmm. It'll be another system where we can notify the citizens, but that is a sign-up system. So when Nixle goes live, there'll be a campaign to get citizens to sign up for Nixle, and all those who sign up, like the reverse 911, you got to sign up for, they will get all the notifications.
Will they go to cell phones?
They will go to cell phones. They'll go to wherever you are, whatever number you register. It's like right now, Facebook, we are at an all-time high. I can remember the number because it's 1,111 today. So at beginning of 2014, we were in the low 700s. So we've signed up with probably 350 or 400 people in the last calendar year. So we're now, whenever we send anything out, 1,100 families, plus there's close to 300 on Twitter. So we have a pretty good notification system.
And these are obviously official Grosse Ile Township
official
accounts.
Grosse Ile Township webpage and Twitter page. And one of the issues I'm sure Kathy will bring up is we contracted with our provider so that anything we put on the left-hand side of our webpage, the notification side, will automatically go to our social media. So when we get Nixle, it'll go on the web page, and as soon as it's on the web page, it'll go to Facebook, Twitter, and Nixle immediately. So
it might not go to Nixle.
We're good. Yeah, we can hook it up.
Can you?
Yeah.
Because I'll talk about it when we get to that point about Twitter and stuff. Go ahead.
I have another question about PDF. one of the questions also that my mother had was whether or not the PDFs are gonna be so you can enter the data in and then
Yes.
send the data directly to the township.
Yeah. They are.
Some of them are, some of them aren't. I think most of the new forms, you can fill them out and print them. I don't think you can send them. I don't think we've got, most of our forms aren't interactive at the moment.
So are we going to be updating those forms, or?
Well, that's something we'll have to make a decision, B, get approval from the board, and C, pay for it.
Well, we can do that. I think the Adobe Acrobat X Pro makes them interactive. You can make them interactive. I thought we paid for that when we first got the
No,
forms
well,
redone.
there's two, it's kind of, because we really, as a board, didn't contract for the new forms. That was kind of done outside of the oversight of the board, so I'm not exactly sure exactly what was paid for and what wasn't.
My understanding is they were supposed to be interactive.
Well, it's something we'll have to research.
And
I don't have an answer for that.
I know with Adobe Acrobat X Pro.
Oh, it's possible.
Yeah, you can just load it
but
in there and change it.
We'd have to go through, I think there's like 45 forms
Yeah.
on the webpage. We'd have to start again with that.
Well, we've got a starting point, and we can work on those. Because I know Carol, when she does the garage sale.
Well,
That's-
that was a form that I created
Yeah.
specifically outside the other form. I did that, I created that form, which we can do. We can do that with the webpage. But the other thing we have to do is deal with all the departments and see how many of them want to be interactive. There's also the problem that not all the departments want their forms to be, where they show up at like the rec department would show up at the rec desk that day. Each department is going to have to say, okay, we want to do that. And that hasn't been, A, it hasn't been asked, and B, it hasn't been addressed.
But that should be. And we should.
Well, that goes back to that speech I gave you guys a couple of years ago, that if you guys want to, if you guys think that we should advance some technology or some kind of opportunities, you guys have to campaign and lecture the powers that be in the departments and make the demand, and then as that demand gets to the managers and gets to the different departments, then we're reactive. We can tell them what's out there, and there's usually a resistance to something new, and then we have to cajole them and convince them, and then when they get convinced, it took me 2 years to get Facebook up, so.
I remember.
So that's why I always ask you guys, if there's something, some technology or some service that you guys want, the best way is just to go to that department and campaign for it. I mean, we can do anything,
Okay. All righty. And, well, now back onto this. Let me see. These are all items that I'm going to talk about in the discussion. I'll just go into the discussion on the existing website issues. It's been a month or so since December 1st, and some things have shaken out, some things haven't. The meta files are still missing. Have you started loading any meta files in, Ted? Because that should have been done when they did the migration. We never got it. Because we had existing information of meta files on the old website. I don't know if they'll do any more, or do you still have a copy of the old website?
Kathy?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Discussion item A is the revised meeting.
Yeah.
We were going to move to table that.
Yes.
And then
I'm out of order, you're right.
we'll have to,
It's fine.
it's easy to do.
I understand. Yes, ma'am. Okay. The revised meeting, we'll just go back to that. The revised meeting, we were going to discuss it tonight. Our liaison is not here, so we can table it until the next meeting. The independent website issues and independent social media. We have been made aware. Ted, you've got a display.
Well, what I have up here is the Island Fest Facebook page, which I created, my department created. And 6 months ago, it was requested that we give oversight or another administration access to the secretary of the Island Trust Commission. If you go through the page, it's been a long time since they mentioned Island Trust, but the page has kind of become a social blog. It's, it comments on everything but Island Trust. And in the positive things, there are more people watching it, but the whole purpose of the page was to just be there for information, notices, everything Island Trust. Well, it's because its scope is expanded tremendously. My concern is this: if a website, social media page, or basically those two items is a representation of a department or a commission or committee of the township, it should have township oversight. So really, I can go in here and delete anything I want to from the Island Trust page because I'm still the administrator. I have not put but 2 things up on that in the last 3-4 months. So most of the stuff is being put up outside of the township oversight. What concerns me now is that the Island Trust Commission also wants to have a website. The people on the Island Trust Commission are volunteers and not paid and have no responsibility, liability, or insurance over them that covers the township. So just not to pick on anybody, there's a bike path Facebook page. Perfectly a nice page, a lot of information, but it has no township oversight, all right? It's been put on by the volunteers of that commission, who can quit at any time, go rogue at any time, abandon the page, but it has Groseal's name on it, and it represents a commission or committee of the township, an official. The same with Island Trust. Now, I still have administration rights on this, but I hesitated to interfere or cause any trouble by editing it at any point. I'm on a personal, I'm upset that the page no longer represents the intention, of why it was created. So generically, the question is, do we want to make a recommendation or discuss a policy where we state that any social media or web page that represents a entity of the township should have township oversight, and by ordinance, this is kind of being put under your umbrella with my administration. So that's what I think the issue is, because I guess the 2 question is who's responsible and who's liable. And if lawyers or us or we decide that the township's liable, then I think there's a necessity to draw a line here, because this is a blooming new phenomenon, and because now I'm getting younger kids asking me, all right, we don't use Facebook. Twitter's yesterday. Why don't you have Groseal Instagram?
Yeah.
Why don't you have Groseal Snapchat? Why don't you have Groseal Vining? And I don't even know what that is, but my grandson.
It's 6 seconds of video.
My grandson mentioned that, so I brought it up because I wanted to sound cool.
So Facebook is considered old now?
It is.
I tell you, I brought up Facebook to my basketball team last week, and they laughed me out of the locker room. It was like, well, we don't use that. In fact, I have a copy I can give you, make it off. I didn't. There was a Facebook article talking about Facebook's now old fogey, that people over 50 are 55 or 60% of the Facebook users now. So, but the issue is this, very clearly, and I don't want to pick on the Island Trust Commission, but they are the ones that are they're the ones that are branching out the farthest with the Bike Path Commission. if somebody is representing the township and has Grosse Ile Township, this is Island Fest is Grosse Ile Township's party, an event. Grosse Ile Township should have control, oversight, because they have the liability. I can't explain any simpler than that. And I guess, working for as a township employee, one of my concerns is township liability. So that's my side of the story, and I'm sticking to it.
Would you please pull up their new, it's on their Facebook page, the little flyer, because it has Grosse Ile, Island Fest Grosse Ile. There it is. And right now, so this is why it's urgent, and we have to bring it to the board. IslandFestGrosseIle.com. They're already advertising it. I went and looked to see who owned the website, and it is one of those secret names that they've hidden, so you don't know who has ownership. It might not be anybody on the commission. We don't know.
The township does it. That's the township does it.
But we don't know who the name is when I go to the directory to see who owns it, because you can see who owns websites, and there's some that are hidden. GrosseIle.org used to be owned by a resident on the island, and suddenly it's now owned by another secret name. So it's like secret. So we don't know who owns it. We have no authority, and there is advertisement now. So I think there should be a motion made to present to the board, and I think we have a motion that could be read, perhaps.
Well, Kathy, I have to agree with you too. I was not aware of this.
Yeah.
It also sets up a future issue, which I think Ted has great foresight in even bringing this up, is that now who owns Island Fest? Because it also does generate some revenue, and it is an event that is sponsored by the Township of Grosse Ile. It is hosted by the Township of Grosse Ile. The commission that operates it operates under the umbrella of the Recreation Commission, Recreation Department, although it's an independent commission. And I think the proof in the pudding is what you pointed out with the Bike Path Commission doing something similar, is that all good intentions mean very little when something goes awry. And with something that regulates or discusses what the township owns or what is happening on township property, opens us up to all kinds of liabilities if it leads to a problem, if it leads to an accident, if it leads to some unknown liability. So while we've been talking, I drafted.
Great.
I would just like to say, I would like to make a motion to recommend that the township board start a conversation to create a policy, or to discuss and create a policy that regulates the potential of township commissions owning and operating independent websites and social media sites without prior approval and oversight by the township board, the township manager, and or the communication commission. And that we start this dialogue and lead toward resolving this issue.
I think an easy way to start that is there's a lot of communities that already have social media, and we do have a website policy up on our website.
We need a second.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
Well,
Discussion.
I didn't read Robert's Rules. I read the Classics Illustrated Robert's Rules. So, basically, we could go to other websites and find their social media policies and present that to the board at some point. I mean, we could do the legwork for the starting that discussion, but. The other thing that you should be aware of, and Kathy is very aware of it, is that this Island Fest Facebook page has had things up there that I guess were copyrightable, and it's jokes and trivia of the day and opinions and what concerns me is sometimes it's throwing up notifications of bridge closings or something that's happening on the island. And I hate to I think I brought this up before. There was an incident at the school a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, where I don't know if a child was accosted or there was some suspect that involved a young kid, allegedly, and immediately it hit social media. Some of the Ill camera picked it up, and then somebody else
Free
shared
press.
it. And the Free Press grabbed it, and I went on and I noticed there were over 3,500 hits about this event that supposedly took place. I called the police department. I said, "What do you want to officially say from the township?" They said, "Wait a second, we're not sure this even took place." So about a half an hour later, Chief Porcerelli calls me up and says, it was kind of like the old Saturday night skit with Gil Nerad. Never mind, it didn't take place. So when we put up forget about it, this didn't take place, only 1,100 people saw that. And the Free Press didn't pick up the actual story. So now, without official township notification, you have close to 3,500 or 4,000 people having notified that this is an issue, plus the Free Press went on it on their news, on their site, and so it shows that, okay, a lot of people think something happened and it really didn't, and the township had no control over it because it was picked up on social media and ran wild. So that's why I think it's very important that there is another Facebook page in the township. The police department have it, but the police, are monitoring that, and they are officially putting up their own notifications. So that would fall under this policy, whereas these others don't.
Well, and on the front page of the new website, if all you have to do is click on the police badge, and it goes right to the police Facebook page. So if you want to know the official police side of it, we have that immediately for the people.
So it's really not a matter of shutting down the commission or committee's ability to have a website to advocate for or to announce what it does. It's really about oversight and about getting township board approval before one of these sites is created, and setting up an oversight policy, whether it's this commission or whether it's the township board itself or whether it's the administration. The board will ultimately decide. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't bring this up to the township board as a concern. I think you're absolutely right, Ted.
Well, I'm not trying. I hate to cause any conflict. I guess it's as a manager of the township. It's they're good people that manage this township, and every one of them is always concerned about liability and responsibility, and that's what I'm asking.
But what I was really trying to say is the point you brought up as well is that somebody does with good intentions on a social media page, such as announcing an event that may or may not have happened, that may have been done with good intentions, but it led to a really bad situation. And so this is not to cast any kind of shadow on the people who are doing these things. It's not to say they are going rogue, but it is to really protect the township from those things that happen without any bad intentions and then get ugly very quick. So
I want to show you on this page here. It says Island Fest and it says Community and Government. All right, so if you read that, this is a government thing, but on the posts, a lot of them are opinions or something like that, or I haven't seen a recipe yet, but pretty close to everything but a recipe. So basically, the reader, if I come from Romulus and click onto this thing, I'm thinking, well, the government's putting up that opinion, and the government's making that observation, and nowhere does it say the secretary of a commission is running this web page. It says the government. So everything that's put on here represents township / recreation department / Island Fest And nowhere does it say, you know, it's not the government.
Right.
This is a government Facebook page.
And just by showing that, you bring up one more delicate little issue. There is the Skirbeck Family Carnival that likes Grosse Seal
I saw
Island
that.
Fest. They bid to participate in
Yeah.
Island Fest, so they have to come to the township and competitively bid working the Island Fest. I don't know if that constitutes any kind of a big conflict, but it sure is a way of garnering favor. So, you know, if another contractor doesn't get the bid and they didn't like us, could they come back and say, I don't know. It's just a can of worms that.
It is. And here's the thing that I think we've all missed out on. We have a brand new website.
Yeah.
They have a page, and whatever commission, every commission has a page. They can change it. They can change the background. They can change the insides.
They can
do,
add.
What?
They can add pages.
They can add pages. They can do anything they want, then there would be oversight. So it seems like a very simple thing. I mean, and it's been well received, the format. So, I mean, all they have to do is go in there, and that would be their representative. I think it would be Annette. And they could go in there and set it up, and
Yeah, Annette could set it up through the rec department.
right.
Yeah.
And then they'd have it there.
And they can do anything they want to. It's one click. It's on the carousel, Island Fest. You click on it, it goes right to. Actually, an Island Fest website would be a redundancy.
Yeah.
And it would even be more difficult because we're not going to link to it, probably. We would not, because we don't have oversight. And so they'd be sitting out there where here you've got grosseal.com, Island Fest, boom, boom, and that's the whole thing. The less clicks, they can have their own carousel. I mean, there's so many things that I don't know why anybody would want to go outside. You know, I mean, I'm being naive, but you know, to me, there's no reason if you want to promote the township's function, you would do it via the township's website, which is a lovely website. So, you know, that's
Well,
my opinion.
and as you know, we at one of its recent board meetings, because of a similar issue that Ted alluded to, the township board actually did enact a volunteer and employee acknowledgement of terms of use policy for website posting and social media posting. And so perhaps this is a way to get around that by having your own website. I don't know.
It's an extension.
But I think the board, so as we were talking, I made a change to the motion, and I'd like to see if I get your approval.
One of the things I need to add is I don't think there's any malice going on. I
No.
think there are some people who are just out there trying to make the best that they can
Yeah.
for their committee. And it's just a matter of oversight for prudency when it comes to legal matters and making sure things are done correctly. The people who are acting on these sites are acting because they're enthusiastic, and I don't think
Yes.
at any time we should squash their enthusiasm, but just remind them that since it's a government webpage, there are responsibilities that needs to be taken care of.
Well, the only thing
Very
is,
well
you
said.
do not know who has this Grosse Seal,
Island Fest.
IslandFestGrosseSeal.com. You don't know who it is, so we don't know if it's enthusiastic residents. We don't know who it is because we can't get the name. It's listed, you know.
Well, the government can send a request to the appropriate parties to obtain the information.
Well, that I did not know. So that because we don't know, we don't know who it is.
Government agencies can send it to. There's currently, I think there's one main agency that holds the web. It was a major discussion whether it was going to go outside the U.S. or not, and it was determined that it was going to stay inside the U.S. And governments can submit information requesting who owns a web page.
That might not be a bad thing too. You know, because we don't know we don't know. We have no idea who owns it because there's no name when I went and checked. So, good points. All good points. So, why don't we hear the motion again, Uta?
Feed into the policy, or modify the policy.
Yeah, based on the conversation that we've just been having, I'd like to rephrase the motion. To recommend to the township that the township board develop a policy with input from the township attorney to regulate the potential of township commissions and committees owning and operating independent and websites and social media sites without prior approval of the township board and oversight by the township board, the township manager, and/or communication commission.
Do we have a second?
I'll make a second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Just as a point of order, but we have a existing
Motion?
and I think we had to either vote up or down on the first motion at some point before we can entertain the second.
Can't we amend?
Yeah, this was an amendment.
This is an amendment,
And
okay.
so
Thank you.
essentially, Richard needs to second the amendment because he seconded the motion.
Thank you.
Nope, that's a good
Good.
point. Keep us honest.
I will second the.
Okay, all right, all in favor of the amended motion?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None. And the motion passes. The amended motion passes. Good. It's better to be safe than sorry,
Absolutely.
you know? And then the board has all the rights to it. Okay, so we're on that, and now...
Where do we stand about getting the .gov?
That's one of the things. I talked to Dale Ream today, and he said that they think they have it, so I tried, and I couldn't get in. But, you know, we will find out. I think Carol is out today, and she was working on it, but Dale did tell me today they think they've gotten all the paperwork done. So it's a lengthy process, it seems like.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's a very lengthy process. But now back to C, which I was too eager to get, the existing website issues. Back to the meta files. Metafiles basically are it's informational things that any time the word like island or green or, you know, things that are representative of Grosse Ile, it'll pick up traffic to the website. Our metafiles were in existence on our old web page and did not get transferred over and have not been percolated to my knowledge. Ted, have you had any involvement in that at all? Do we have the old website somewhere that we can just cut and paste?
Still on my computer.
Okay. I can talk to them. I can talk to Revise and ask about that too, because I was told that, well, it should percolate. Well, by now it should, and I don't see that it is. We have a calendar issue. If you could pull up the website, Ted. I pointed this out, and it's annoying to me. I love the calendar, but there's this one little shadow. If you go to the calendar and then click on the full page, the calendar for, that is not our web. There we go. If you go to the calendar down here, more events, there, click. Okay, stop, go back up. Okay,
There's an overlay.
there's an overlay, version 3.2, 120, 2014. You can see it on the right, under Grosse Ile calendar. That should not be there. I don't know why it's there. I've pointed it out. We'll have to ask them to remove that. That drives me crazy. These are the errors. The automatic notification of social media, I did discuss that with one of our representatives there. They said that they could do it, then they were told they couldn't do it. Then I know there were emails between Township Manager Dale Ream and the Vice President of Revise about social media. And I think you have a follow-up to that, Ted?
They sent us an email and they asked for my password and they asked for the username. I sent it to them probably before Christmas.
Okay. I was told that they probably are not on Twitter, the automatic thing. That's what I was told.
All they have to do is link us to Facebook because I've already got Twitter linked to Facebook.
Okay. Well,
So that it's not a matter of them doing it. All they have to do is get it to Facebook, and anything we put on Facebook automatically goes to Twitter.
I will reiterate this to our contact and see if
And
she...
that was promised to us. And that's
Yes, it was.
One of the things that I know in the course of negotiations, I asked at least at 3 different meetings.
Yes.
And they were that promised to us at each meeting.
It is. If you go back to the front page again, another thing that drives me crazy, and I don't know why the reason is. If you get to the home page. Okay. If you go to keep the green line. Okay, go to departments. Go to departments, and then go to community.
Community development.
Yeah.
Oh,
It goes
community?
government. Yeah. No, go back to where you were. If you look in the left bottom, go down some of the places. We're having a problem with. You can't follow. You know, it says government departments, public service. Sometimes when you're in the department, it says community and vice versa, or resources. We've had that issue, remember? I think I've got it highlighted here because you're moving too fast for me to keep up. But
Well, right here. See, if
Okay.
you go under home
yeah,
and you go underneath home,
yeah,
the resources drop.
yeah.
It shows up down here. If you go to resources, it doesn't show.
Yeah, but there are problems with that. This
And-
thing should be as clean as can be, and I've waited, and now we're going to have to point it out
Well,
again.
what gets me about this is that at some time it happens on some computers.
Yes,
And then the next day or so it doesn't, and then we find it somewhere else. It's like chasing it.
well, the other day I was in your office, and when we came, the bar, which is curved, was straight, and all of the verbiage was gone.
Right.
And I said, well, what's going on? And you said to me, well, do you know what's going on? I said, I don't know. So something transpired because it was literally straight and no words. And so, and then it came back.
Well, see, I have no answer to, there are sometimes, over the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, on both holidays, I was working on adding and changing some stuff. Thanksgiving, my granddaughter and I sat, and one of the things that's still not done, the shopping, businesses are not in alphabetical order. And we made an alphabetical order list, and we changed them all and moved them all and hit save, and the bar, it just wouldn't save. It just wouldn't save. It wouldn't
Yeah,
save.
we've had that issue.
It wouldn't save. And we let it about 10 minutes, and finally we went to another page and came back, and it was gone. And the same kind of thing happened on a bunch of changes I made over Christmas. So I sent them an email, and the answer I got back is, well, we were working on the page that day. So sometimes, there have been times where I've done work and lost it because it just wouldn't save and with no
But see,
explanation.
this is important because when you go on to banks, and one of the banks I can use as a prime example is Charter One, because I've used Charter One. They say when they're when they're working on it, if
That's a good point.
a web page should state when it's being worked on, and it should state when the administrators are making revisions to it. Citizen Bank does that.
Well, yeah, I sent them an email, and I said, are you guys down for the holidays? I said, I'm trying to make changes, and the email got back and said we were down for a couple hours. But then it said try now. Well, I got the email back about 8 o'clock at night. So, obviously I wasn't here at 8 o'clock at night that night, but what I'm trying to say, it's an example of sometimes, and Kathy brought up, sometimes something is like this Dropbox is correct, and then like tonight you see that the resource Dropbox is under home.
Yeah, and that has been a problem ever since we added department. Ever since we put the department in, it's never been right. And what I'm going to do, because I'm a nidge, I'm going to go through every single one of them and write it out and say, this is what it is, this is what it should be, and I'll send you a copy and I'll send it all to them. Because by now, these are issues, and we've been very patient. We have, as a commission, we have been very patient and letting things settle out, and nothing seems to be improving on these issues.
Here's the thing that I've noticed with the web page, and I've checked numerous times. when you're using smartphones or tablets, and it says install this app, last 3 times I tried to install the app, it would not install the app. And
App for what?
there's an app, if you go on with some smartphones, that will install this app, which will allow your web page to be
Is
better.
that iPhone or is that Galaxy?
That was the Apple iPhone.
Because I somebody told me that, and I tried to find that app on my
Right.
Android, and it's not there.
So, and we were not made aware of that either. We should be made aware of
And
it.
see, that's
When I go on with my Apple phone, I don't get a
that's
request.
because you have a new Apple. What's your
Oh.
version of Apple phone?
5.
That's why you're not going to have that. But if you have an older Apple phone, or if you have a Motorola Droid, it does the same thing.
Well, we're having serious issues with the mobile. That is probably the biggest.
Was it 3G or older? It's not really working.
I have 4G, and
Well, 3G or older.
3G is the my mother has a Droid X, and it comes up with that same thing about installing, and it's very problematic. You actually walk away and come back, and then it's okay. And then I was using a iPhone that had 3G, and it said install this app, and when you click on it, it just messes things totally up.
So you're saying that, Ted, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's an older phone, it works better for the
The
mobile?
newer phones work better than
'Cause-
my phone. I really don't have any trouble with the website for my phone.
I do, and I've got a Samsung Note 2, which is 4G, and you can get only so far.
Well, let me ask this question, and because you and I
I just
covered-
got it.
The app?
So I have a 5C, and the web page is only partially installed. And I got a note from Revise. Where was it now?
It just pops up for a select
It just
period of time.
popped up and it
if
said-
you click on it, it shuts your phone down.
It says Revise. Click on this app to view this page.
Well, I'll ask about that, because you would think we would have known this.
Well, I just want to remember the problem we have as far as IE versus Chrome
Oh,
versus
yeah.
Firefox. I mean, we had an issue in the building this week for the trustees' paperless meeting to their iPads.
Here it says install this web app on your iPhone, tap, and then add to home screen.
And when you do it, it sometimes shuts your phone down. You can try it if you want.
Well, in other words, we need to revisit the whole mobile
Yes.
issue of the website.
Yeah,
I
'cause-
guess that's the best way of putting it.
Yeah, because the mobile is extraordinarily important.
And
That's been the biggest.
we specifically asked when we made the
Bid.
bid about working on iPhones and other smartphones.
See, I think in as I recall, and I may be wrong, but as I recall, they said that they could have apps on Apple products, but not Droids. That's the way I recall it, but I may be wrong.
All I remember is the sales meeting when they had the 4 meetings that day. Their representatives said, and we can even do it on these fancy new phones. I said, you mean like this one? And he said, yes, and that was it. And so I was hoping that it would be working well on my Samsung. So I'm sure it can be, but it has to be revisited. These things, we've waited, we've given them time, because the website went forward on December 1, and I think we knew things were under construction, but there are issues that it's time. It's time. So I'll write a list and I will send it to everybody, and if you have things that are missing, we can add to it. But I think we've waited long enough. We have to go to it now. Okay, so that's that. And then lastly, item D is Jerry gave me a call, educational outreach to Grosse Ile residents regarding the website. Jerry, would you like to talk about that, please?
Just quickly, it was brought to my attention that Grosse Ile has one of the older demographics in the region, and we have a number of people, myself included, that tend to be less adept at using the tech devices. We have a number of people that are not as good at using websites as they would like to be. It was mentioned that it would be a good idea to perhaps try to do some kind of a tutorial video to show people how to use the website, something that they could do at their own pace in the privacy of their own home.
Right, and we started hashing this back and forth, and we thought perhaps we would have a town hall meeting once the snowbirds are back between like April and May, and have it at the rec department, the rec center, excuse me, and do a PowerPoint presentation on how to use it, and then we could tape it so that it would be twofold. People were a little uncomfortable coming in public. They could watch it, and we could post it on the front page, the home page of the website. Or if they wanted to ask questions, it could be interactive, so that we would have something that would be truly Grosse Ile relatable and for the community. And I thought it was a great idea. So does anybody have a problem with that idea? Because we can move forward on that too.
Ted has a question.
I have a problem with it.
Ted has a problem with it. Of
Just
course he does.
based on the scope of what you just described is tremendously larger than you can imagine.
You always say that.
I think we could do, first of all, this thing has to be well scripted and written. It has to be, I would like to see something maybe with cooperation with an instructor through the rec department, somebody that's got a computer background or teaches computer. There are people I know, relatives of mine have taken iPad classes and other classes specifically designed. So maybe working with the new rec director, we can find a person that has done this, is qualified, has a script, knows what they're doing, and then if it's pretty well pointed and kept together, we could tape it, edit it, and we could put a tutorial on, a link to YouTube. I mean, the easiest thing to do is how to use a web page. We could link to a YouTube video tomorrow. I mean, that'd be the easiest thing and the cost effective. But if you want to do it Grosse Ile specific,
Yes.
I think we should work with the rec department and get somebody that teaches this, and then doing a TV video and doing a production is.
It's what you do, Ted.
It's what I do, but it's like I'm saying, just to have a town hall meeting and interactive, it probably wouldn't even be worth watching again.
The idea was presented to me as something pretty basic. This is our website. This is, the home page. There are other pages. If you need a larger font, you can click on this box to increase font size or decrease text size. Something
There's
simple.
probably a revised tutorial already out there on how to use the web page or the help page. So there's a help button. Like I said, we could find a basic tutorial and link it immediately. But to produce something in-house, I think I would be more comfortable working with a qualified a web page instructor who, I mean, there are communities that the recreation department puts on how to
Use a web page.
how to use web page classes, in some of their adult ed and their recreation. So there are people that do that, and to record that instruction would probably be the easiest way to go. But I just to have an open meeting or an open forum, trying to rein that in to be productive and constructive would be a challenge.
But if we get a professional, which, first there's cost. Secondly, they wouldn't be as familiar with the website as you are. Or, they'd have to, because we want it specific to our web page.
Well, there's pre-production meetings and pre-production
Okay.
opportunities, but like I said, I can put things on video. I'm not the best teacher in the world.
Well, how about you take this to the new rec department manager and
talk to her.
see what she says.
I think this is a great opportunity for the rec department
Yeah.
to as an outreach for the rec department. I've been talking for years about having I think there's an opportunity to have a lot of people take iPad classes. I know my wife has taken 2 or 3, and she's always looking for more.
And Verizon has their own thing where if you get a piece of new equipment, you can go and take classes for free at their
Samsung,
store.
yeah, we've gotten that. Samsung.
I could go look tomorrow and find a YouTube how to use a web page, basic web page, and link it. I think that might be a service to anybody, but I can see, being Grosse Ile specific, but I'd like to work with a qualified instructor
Okay.
doing that.
Do you think that something like this could be an Eagle Scout project
Yeah.
that a Eagle Scout could pursue, putting together a community service tutorial instead of building a bench, say building a bridge?
And you know what?
An educational bridge.
In today's world, I'm sure there are Eagle Scouts that are willing to do that.
And they probably have a patch for that.
And
Technology.
Exactly, or maybe a community service group at the high school, or, I mean, there are some other avenues we could pursue to
Great.
get knowledgeable but volunteer.
Yeah, because cost is
And
always
if
an
he
issue.
could
That's a
teach
great
me to
idea.
swim, then I'd become an Eagle Scout, because I have all my merit badges, I just couldn't swim, and so.
I can teach
I'm
you.
still a second-class scout.
That I can do. I'm a water safety instructor. But anyways, this is great, and by everybody pitching in with the ideas. So Ted, you will talk to them, and do you happen to have a connection to the Eagle Scouts?
Not a clue, but I can talk to someone I know who's a neighbor,
Great.
who's very active in the Scouts, and maybe they will know
The
somebody.
Eagle Scout program on this island over the years has been very productive. I mean, it's been-
Absolutely.
I think they did the flagpole at Water's Edge, one Eagle Scout, and another one. I think didn't they do the steps from the new side cut park? And I know
Yep.
one did bat houses in the open space area. So one did. I know one didn't one just go through and identify all the original trees on the island and the ancient.
I think you're
yeah.
right.
So the Eagle Scout program has done a.
She's on the rec commission.
Plus, I work with the Tiger Scouts, so they own me.
And you know what? This might be a really great thing. Instead of brawn, the brain being used. I mean, there must be
I'm all in favor of the
technology patch now. There's got to be.
Well, and Jerry just penned me a note. Ann Magrin has been very active in the Scouts with her husband. She's on the Recreation Commission.
Great.
So she might be a good person to talk to, and she might actually run with this.
Great.
Or
So
no.
All they can do.
you know
Okay.
what? The more the better. The more information, the
Yeah.
better. Great. Okay. New business. We have to nominate a chair for the Communication Commission for the next season. Anybody want to nominate somebody?
Ladies and gentlemen, I will surprise nobody. No. I make a motion to nominate Kathy Walker to continue serving as our chairperson for the 2015-16 fiscal year.
If that requires a second, I so move.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 It passes. No, there's no opposition. Thank you very much. I'll try to do as good a job as I can for everybody. Okay, so now one thing I did mention, we have, I did not realize this was a requirement, but we do have a full year of our meetings now scheduled out, and if anybody wants to know them, Ted, you can post it on our page when they are, and we are at 5:30 now until we change. But we are at 5:30, and everybody seems to like that time pretty well. And so that will be there, and our next meeting is February 11th. Motion to adjourn.
No report.
Oh, before we...
Just to let you know, March 11th is I think a meeting date.
March 11th, yes.
I will not be able to attend that meeting. I'm having eye surgery on the 9th,
Okay.
and they tell me I'll still be blind on Wednesday. So.
Okay, well, we have plenty of time to rearrange on that. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 7:35. Thank you. We are off.